Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about multiplication or division or both of directed numbers as part of number and indice. So just like we went through with addition and subtraction, there's a rule that we have to apply when we multiplying or dividing any directed numbers. And the rule is that if the symbols are the same, they equal a plus. For example, a plus and a plus or a minus and a minus will eventually equal a plus. And if the symbols are different, such as a plus or a minus and a plus, then the end result will be a minus. So let's go through when does this rule apply? Well, quite simply, this rule applies when the symbols are next to each other, like we saw with addition or subtraction, or when we are multiplying or dividing, such as this case. So let's go through a few examples. Now let's look at example 1. Now within example 1, you have minus 3 times 6. 1's a negative number, and the 6 is a positive number. So a negative and a positive is going to become, as the rule says, if the symbols are different, then it's going to be a minus. So the first thing I do, if I'm looking at the steps here, is identify symbol, whether it is a plus or a minus. In this case, a minus and a plus will become a minus. Step number 2 is multiply or divide the numbers. So here I have 3 times 6, which is 18. So the answer is negative 18. So minus 3 times 6 is negative 18. Well, let's look at example 2. I have a negative multiplied by a negative. I'll say that again. I have a negative multiplied by a negative. When the symbols are the same, the answer is going to be a plus. 3 times 6 is 18. Now we don't write plus 18, we just write 18. We only put a symbol in front if it's a negative. Let's make it a little bit more difficult. Let's have 2 steps that we have to do. So the first step that I'm going to do is minus 3 times minus 6. So here I have a negative multiplied by a negative, which is going to be plus because the symbols are the same. And 3 times 6 is 18. So I have 18 times, and then the 2 that's left over. So now it's just simple. 18 times 2 equals 36. Let's keep going. Let's do the first part again. Minus 3 times 6 first. So I have a negative multiplied by a positive. When the symbols are different, it is a minus. And then multiplying the numbers, 3 times 6 is 18. And then I have times 2. Now we do the same thing again. I have a negative multiplied by a positive. I have a negative multiplied by a positive. So when the symbols are different, the answer is going to be a negative. And 18 times 2 is 36. So the answer is negative 36. Hopefully you're getting the hang of it. Let's do one last multiplication. So we have minus 3 times minus 6 first. So a negative times a negative becomes a positive. 3 times 6 is 18 times negative 2. And now we have a positive multiplied by a negative. We have a positive multiplied by a negative. When the symbols are different, the answer is going to be a negative. And 18 times 2 is 36. So as you can see, example 4 and 5, although they're different, they end up in the same answer. Let's move on to some division. Now with division, here I have a positive divided by a positive number. So my answer is going to be a positive. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Let's have a look at example 7. It's a little bit different. I have a negative divided by a positive. The symbols are different. If the symbols are different, the answer is going to be a negative. Now, multiply or divide the numbers. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So the answer is negative 2. Let's go on to example 8. Example 8 states negative 6 divided by negative 6. So I have a negative divided by a negative. The symbols are the same. And when the symbols are the same, the answer is going to be a positive. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Now I don't have to write plus 1 because that indicates that's a positive number unless there's a negative attached to it. Let's go on to example 9. Now, we know this fraction line is the same as division. The fraction line represents division. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. Quite simple. But how about we do something like in example 10, where we have negative 36 divided by 6. So now I have a negative number divided by a positive number. The symbols are different, so the answer is going to be a negative to begin with. And 36 divided by 6 is 6. Now, go and watch these examples once more, write them down so you know what you're doing. I have a few questions here that I think you guys should do. Pause the video, do the questions, and come back for the recommended answers. Okay, there's your recommended answers. Hopefully you got them all right. And remember, the aim was to be able to divide or multiply directed numbers. If you didn't get them right, go back and watch the video again. Make sure you write everything down. Till next time, take care, guys.